All right, welcome back. Welcome back to Football GPS right here on CVM TV. Now we want to have a chat with Vonnie Clark. You may know Vonnie Clark as the man in charge of the youth programs down there at Mount Pleasant in St. Ann. Now, the very interesting story came about, and it's a unique story. Not that I don't think, but I know for a fact that this would not have happened before, where a Premier League club has an academy where the youngsters are doing so well in academic work, because we've never had a Premier League with that kind of academy like this before. So we joined Vonnie Clark now, who is the man in charge of all these things down here at Mount Pleasant, for him to tell us a little bit more about what's happening with both the academic and football side of the youth programs at Mount Pleasant. Vonnie, how you do?
I am good, Arvin. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Talk up a little bit louder for me. I'm struggling to hear. But they came out in the news the other day that Mount Pleasant Academy had 90-something% pass in I think 2 subjects. Talk to us about that.
No, man, it's more than 2 subjects, Arvin.
Is how many subjects?
The kids actually took 4 subjects.
4?
Yes,
Okay.
and it's important to just point out as well that none of these boys who sat the CXC are as yet in grade 11.
Yes.
All of these boys would have been from our grade 8, grade 9, and grade 10 cohort.
And 53, I understood, sat these 4 exams?
Yes.
And all 53, how well did all 53 do? Did they get everything?
91. We had a 91%.
91% pass. In how many subjects?
In these 4 subject areas.
And what were
The
these?
subject areas that we're talking about is mathematics, English language, principles of accounts, and physical education, and human and social biology. So we're actually talking about 5 subjects.
So you're telling me that a group of youngsters in 8th or 9th grade, none of them in 11th grade,
None in grade 11th grade.
were
None.
able to go to your academy down there at Mount Pleasant and came away, by and large, 91% in 4 or more subjects. That is impressive.
91 subject passage, percent passage. Yes.
I have been to schools, Vonnie, where the percentage look bossy, but it looks bossy because they prevent a lot of people from actually sitting the exams. So there might be 100 schools in the 5th form cohort.
Yes.
They make only 30 take it, and then the 30 do well, and them say them have 100% pass. But they did that by locking out 70% of the youngsters who them think not too bright.
Yes,
Of those 53 students that sat the exams at Mount Pleasant, were any left out, or were those the 53 under your control?
There wasn't a leaving out of any student. As I said before, Arville, all of these kids would have come from grades 8, 9, and 10.
So there are 53 students in your academy. That's the point I'm making.
Yes.
Oh.
No, we don't have 53 students, We had up to August, we would have had 94 boys.
Oh.
The majority of those would have been in our grade 8, grade 7,
Oh.
and grade 9 cohort. So it's not a case of, as I said, none of these boys would have been in a regular high school, would have necessarily be sitting.
Okay, I saw what you mean. Very too early. It's
CXCs at this time.
very impressive. Here's what I want to know, Vonnie. How do you structure academics versus football? What's the average day like? How do you plan your itinerary between academics and football for the youngsters at Mount Pleasant?
Our day currently starts at 5:45 with a training session, a football training session. And thereafter, the kids will go to breakfast. And then they would start their academic classes at 8:30 in the morning. That goes up to, it varies on a day, but that goes up to as deep as 8 p.m. at night.
They have classes from 8:30 in the morning.
And that travels through with different groups, depending on the group and depending on the day, all the way through to at sometimes 8 p.m. at night.
Whoa.
So I am just coming from a training session now. The training session was we just finished that training session.
No, hold on. I want to know the breakdown in terms of actual academics and actual football. So when they're going at 8:30 for classes, at what stage does academics end and football take over?
So everything is woven into one. So let me see if I can, clarify it a little bit better for you.
Yes.
So you might have a child who is in grade 7, and he would go in. That group would go in for classes beginning at 8:30 in the morning. They might have had a training session that morning. So like this morning, they would have had a training session, for example. And then they would go to classes from 8:30. Their classes today, we are doing online classes. Their classes today would have ended at 4 today.
Oh.
The grade 8s would have had classes beginning this morning at 9 p.m. and their classes would have ended at 6 this afternoon. Break and lunch in between. Also, in the middle of the day now, you might find, there is a football session, a session that we call football. This might take a theoretical approach to it. It might be an individualized session where a coach might have 2 or 3 kids, work with them for a 40 minutes or a 45 minutes, and then, the kid would have a 40-minute break and then go back to his regular academic curriculum. So it would be like a PE class in a regular high school.
I see what you mean.
We focus on the football.
How is it decided which subjects are given to these youngsters? Is it they that choose, or does the academy?
The beauty about it is that we see ourselves as a school. So the kids do all the subjects that are done in the traditional high school.
Okay.
Believe it or not. My faculty is 22 teachers strong. So my faculty is 22 teachers strong. So we cover all the subject areas. And within those subject areas, we also cover 3 foreign languages. So we cover French, Spanish, and Italian. We are, as far as I know, the only high school set up in Jamaica that is certified to present students with certification, international certification in Italian foreign language.
Wow.
And that certification, when our kids sit that exam, they pass it, they are certified to they can take this certification and go anywhere in the world with it.
How are these youngsters chosen, Vonnie? Because every child in Jamaica now want to go to Mount Pleasant Academy to play football and to get this kind of exposure to academics and the things that you're talking about. How are they chosen?
Well, the approach to selecting kids, our initial approach was we had these massive scouting drives. We would bring in hundreds of kids would come in, we would look at them, we would go through, would select from that, and, over a period of 2-3 weeks, we would whittle it down to 20 or 25. And then they would come in for a 3 weeks period where we would do, on-site training with them just to see what their, capacity was, what their whole attitude and approach would be, and that would be the final sort of selection process.
How much of the selection process is geared towards football and how much is geared towards academics? In other words, let us say you might see a youth who's brilliant at football, but the academics might kind of slow. Is he more likely to be part of the academy as the other way around, where a youngster very bright like Morning Star, but in football skills need a little work? Which is more likely to...
Bright like the Morning Star and his football is lacking, then he's likely to be encouraged to go to mono. What we want to do is, the first thing that they must be able to do is play football.
Okay, okay.
They might come in and over time, you know, the others grow, leave them for whatever reason. Some kids come in at a very young age and they fall out of love with the game for whatever reason. That happens, right? But the first thing that we look for is a propensity to play football.
All right. How long do they stay? So you're getting a youngster now. He's 9, 10, 11 years old, or whatever age group, and he's brilliant at football. How long does he stay?
Hopefully that kid will be with us until age 18.
Oh. So in terms of years, what's the earliest stage you take them in?
The youngest child that we have, that we took in, was 9 years old.
And the 9-year-old, you want the 9-year-old to be there until 18 as well?
Yes.
Oh. And if you get them
we
at
wanted
13, they still go to 18?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Hopefully by then he would have matriculated to the senior team.
Oh. Well, I tell you, Vonnie, it's a wonderful thing you're going on with down there at Mount Pleasant, sir. It's just a mind-blowing concept that I never believed that I could live to see happening here in Jamaica. And good to know that the academic results are as good as they are going at the moment. Big up, sir, and congrats to the entire Mount Pleasant team. All right, sir. That's Vonnie Clark, the man in charge of the youth programs. Fantastic. Youngsters passing subjects before they would reach the traditional fifth form years, doing well down there at the Mount Pleasant Academy.